Could, should, won't. Could, should, don't. It's called disaster. Now, how do you change all that? The next 6 years, I got rich. The next 6 years, I became a millionaire. By the time I'm 31, I'm a millionaire. How about that? You say, well, Mr. Rohn, what happened? Well, strangely enough, during that second 6 years of my economic life, the government was about the same. I'm telling you, taxes were about the same. My negative relatives were the same. I'm telling you, the economy was about the same, and prices were about the same, and everything else was about the same. Circumstances were about the same. Then how come I got rich? How come I totally changed my life? I was not the same. Somebody says, well, what did you go to work on to do all that? I started with my philosophy. I started amending my errors by doing some better thinking, changing my mind, coming up with ideas that I didn't have before I met my... And once that whole process started for me, I'm telling you, I changed my whole life. Within a 6-year period, I was never the same. And I've kept up that process all these. One of the reasons why I'm here is to continue my craft. I don't want the day to come someday somebody says, you should have heard Jim Rohn 10 years ago when he was really terrific. Guess what I want people to say? I heard him 10 years ago, but you should hear him now. I'm telling you, the man works on his craft. I'm telling you, the man's done some extra reading. I'm telling you, the man doesn't miss a trick. I'm telling you, he's worked hard on himself. That's why he's able to deliver. Like the same thing can happen for you as a teenager. It can happen to you as a mother, as a father, as a business person, as a salesperson, running a business. Doesn't matter. Management, wherever you find yourself. This is the process called personal change. What I say start with your own philosophy. Your philosophy is going to determine whether or not you go for the disciplines or continue the errors that's called potential discipline. And everybody has it within their power. Well, it was so happy for me to find out at age 25, Mr. Shoaff said to Rohn, you don't have to change country, but you do have to change philosophy. And if you'll change philosophy, not country, you can turn around your income, you turn around your bank account, you turn around your skills, you can become capable, powerful, sophisticated, healthy, influential, all the other equities that you could possibly want out of your life, using the only stuff there is and not trying to change any of this stuff. Appreciate all of this stuff with all of its ups and downs, with all of its mystery of why it works and sometimes it doesn't work. Don't challenge this. You don't have to ask for another planet. You don't have to ask for another country. Just ask for another book. Ask for another seminar. Ask for another idea. You can start the whole prosperous life. Now, I could spend the whole day on philosophy. That's where it is. If I could get you intrigued with that enough to study it, enough to ponder it, to where you would pick up a commitment like I did and say, hey, as simple as an apple a day, as simple as a walk around the block, why not start right there? If you don't start there, where else are you going to start? Might as well start where it's easy. Then go to the more complicated. Because if you can't handle the complicated, the simple disciplines, how can you handle the complicated philosophy? Here's number. I got to give these now very quickly. I got to cover linger. Number one, we're affected by philosophy. First major of the 5 major. Number 2 is attitude. We're affected by how we feel. First, we're affected by what we know and decisions we make. Second, we're affected by attitude, how we feel. And I gave that quick list. Let me give it to you. It's how you feel about the past. Got to have a good attitude about the past. Use it as a school, not a club. Don't beat yourself to death with your past. Faults, failures, losses. Let the past be a school. Harsh school, maybe. What else new? Let the past be a school master to teach, not to threaten you, but teach. Next is how you feel about this. That's your goal. Talk a little bit about that before we finish. Goal setting. Promise of the future is an awful to affect your life. Without a future well designed, we take hesitant. All you have to have is hesitant steps for 6 years. Timid, driven into a corner, not boldly willing to go. Take your portion, take your... Next, how you feel about everybody else. Got to have a good attitude about everybody else. It takes everybody else to make a market. One person doesn't make a family. One person doesn't make a business. One person doesn't make a corporation. One person doesn't make a community. One person doesn't make a nation. It takes all of us to make a dynamic economy, a nation second to none. It takes all of us to make the economy run. It takes all of us to make the possibility. All the gifts that have flowed in here the last 200 years, unprecedented in 6,500 years of recorded. There's been nothing like it. The ethnic streams that have flowed in here brought their gifts, brought their talent, brought their skills, brought their inventions, brought their work ethic. All of it mixed together is called America. Been nothing like it in 6,500. And to miss the value of it by some, warped attitude about it, I'm telling you, you've missed it all. And if you have an appreciation for it all, you'll draw from it. And if you draw from all the gifts that have been blended together here for 200 years now for your value and benefit, think of what you can do for your days, for your business, for your conversation, for your equity. Transform it to an incredible. And here's the last, it's how you feel about you. Understanding self-worth, bro. Self-worth should be easy. If one of us can do it, all of us. If anybody can think it, we all can think it.
Tom Brady, guys, is equanimity at its finest. He's also not the most athletic, but when it matters most, 3rd and 8, do you know what his 3rd down conversion rate is like as a quarterback? People don't understand quarterbacks. 3rd and long, there's nobody in the history of football Bowl even remotely closer. Not the big drive. He's great at that too. It's the little parts of the game where you go, Rodgers, no offense to you Packers fans, it's 3rd and 11. And he audibles out of the right play, audibles into the wrong play, and you're off the field. You don't know why you lose the NFC Championship. The other guy gets up there 3rd and 11, audibles into the right play, and converts equanimity under duress, the separator. It's invisible. No one sees it. No one knows what it is. It's the difference. So you need equanimity. Y'all with me on that? Say yes. Yeah. You also need the power of one more. I'm writing a book right now that I really do believe is going to change the world called The Life-Changing Power of One More. There's a lot of different things I could say to you about doing one more rep in the gym, making one more phone call a day and stacking all that up, being a one more thinker. That's changed my life. I'm a one more thinker. I also get 3 days in one day. So I'm going to give you 2 gifts here. Number 1, power of one more. If you add a one more multiplier to your organization, it will change everything. Maxwell calls it the law of the catalyst. You can't just be recruiting. You have to be looking for that one more special multiplier catalyst. I call it a rabbit. Someone that joins your team, they set the pace, they set the culture, they set the intensity level. In every company I own, which is 23 of them right now, I am looking for one more multiplier, Pete. Brady is a one more multiplier. Let me explain to you. Not just how he works, but it's how he works. It's not how, there's this legendary story going around the last few weeks that during Super Bowl week, Brady's up watching film at 1:30 in the morning, and he's texting the wide receivers at 1:30 in the morning saying, hey, 3rd and short, you can't run this route against this DB. 3rd and 8, this route works against him. Hey, 2nd and short, you can work this route against this DB, but if it's 2nd and long, you can't run this route against him. The level of precision and specificity that he brings to the organization that nobody else understands changes it, but he's a one more multiplier. So is LeBron James. Let me explain to you. When you add a one more multiplier, they infectiously help you magnetize and attract other people like to your organization. You don't know why. I can't explain why. I think it's a vibrational frequency thing. But when I add these players, like if you added me to your team, you added me, you recruited me right now, I promise you within 6 or 7 months, there's 4 or 5 mini-me's around that were never there. But do you know that all 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl were scored by dudes that weren't on the team last year that Brady recruited personally? They get Brady, Gronk, AB, and Fournette all came there because of Brady. One more players that join your team are multipliers for your organization. You can't just look to add people. You can't look to add vanilla generic humans. You need to be looking for one more multipliers. And when you're recruiting and messaging, say it. Because guys like me, when I'm sitting in front of an interview with me, say, let me tell you what I'm really looking for. I'm looking for leaders. I'm looking for dominators. I'm looking for people who want to be somebody. When you say that word to me, you're speaking my love language.
Look, if you start hustling and grinding, he'll fill it up for you. But if you ain't got no hustle and no grind, he can't fill it up. So guess what? I don't ever go there to use that land for fishing or not. But I'm changing boys' lives over there. But on top of all that, you know how many houses he done gave me? This, I'm telling you about God. Remember what I told you when I first started? Every statement I sound, when it sound like I'm talking about myself. Remember I said, say, cost God. You know how many houses I got now? They count them up. 6 to the bruh, 6, 12. No, I ain't got that many houses. But the point I'm making to y'all, you have because you ask. See, I'm giving you stuff you can do. You can talk to people all day. They got video out right now. You can go online, $39.95, how to buy a house with no money down. If you stupid enough, think you can go buy a house with no money down, go ahead. You might can get it with no money down. But at closing, my story, really a story about, really is, come out dirt. I have no college, all of my children. I got 7 LLs, got boys, 2 boys come out of Morehouse. I got a daughter that come out of Spelman in Berkeley. I got 2 daughters went to Hampton, and then graduated from Ohio State. I made sure all my kids went to college, because I know they got to have it. But Daddy, you didn't go to college, but your ass ain't got no... Slipped again, I'm sorry. That came, I ain't even know that got out there. I threw that one out there and I felt pretty good. I said, why is they laughing like that? It's been important for me to empower my children, but not only my children, thousands of young people across the country. And education is the key for it. When I say college, tell nothing, not your education, it's your dream. So what you dream about, what you still dream, what is God still showing nation?
It's hard, and it's not fair. One of the things I like about T. Harvey is he talks about work and investing in yourself. It's not fair when people are going up against that kind of stuff to tell them just think positive and be enthusiastic and everything will work out all right. Ain't that kind of party? It's hard. Life will put some knots on your head. I bought my first home for my mother. I was rushing, didn't know what I was doing, and I bought a home that had a lien against it. And they called me me, Mr. Brown, yes, there's a lien against your property. We need $55,000 if you're going to stay there. Wait a minute, sir. I just bought this home. The guy told me there were no liens against it. I'm not the one that owe you the money. You should have checked that out, Mr. Brown. Come on. I called my attorney. We followed up. Yes, Les, there's a lien against the property. But he told me there were no liens. He lied, obviously. Oh, my God. He told me he wanted to help me because he admired the fact that I was buying this home for my mother and that he was adopted and he identified with me. Les, he suckered you. He played you, man. So what? Well, would they take payment arrangements? What about $5,000 a month? They want all the money, Les. They want all the money, or you're going to have to get out. The house is going up for sheriff's sale. Do you have it? No, I don't have them. Can they give me some time? Tell them to give me 3 months, please. Give me 3 months. My mother's in her 70s, man. She has a bad heart. Don't do this to me. This is my dream. Don't do this, man. Please, let me talk to them. Les, I'm talking to their attorney. They don't want to talk to you. I've got to talk to their attorneys. Do you have the money? No. Will they give me 3 months? No. What about 2 months? No, Les. They want the money in 7 days. Oh, my God. Let me call you back. I'm not sure. And I walked the floors thinking, God, how could this happen? I got to figure this out, I got to figure this out. It seemed like the days are just ticking off. Thursday, I had to call them and let them know. They called me, Les, do you have the money? No, I don't. Friday, you have to leave. The sheriff will be there. You'll have to leave, Les. They're going to take my house. What about my down payment? You lost it, Les. You lost it. Okay, I got to go. Yes. I prayed, Lord, please. If you show me that you're real, if you're really real, you think Paul worked for you, you haven't seen anything. Don't let me lose this house and watch what I'll do for you. I was trying to cut a deal. Have you ever tried to cut a deal? It's amazing how spiritual you get when you get in trouble. You know what I mean? When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, I was going to bed with the Bible and the Holy Quran and Science of Mind and Joel Goldsmith, everything I could find. I was praying to Jesus, Yahweh, Melchizedek, everybody. I was calling on everybody. It's amazing. And here I was walking the floor 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had to go and wake my mother up. I got on my knees and I said, Mama, I need you to wake up. She said, what's wrong, Leslie? I can hear you walking back and forth. I'm not asleep, son. I said, there's something I need to tell you. She said, your eyes are red. Why are your eyes red? Because I feel so stupid now. Why? We got to move tomorrow. Why, Leslie? There's a lien against the property and they want $55,000 and I don't have it. And we're going to be set out tomorrow. We have to go back to Liberty City. So she said, it's okay. I don't like this house anyhow. I said, why? She said, because of my arthritic knees. It hurts my knees when I go up the steps. I said, and why didn't you tell me? Because you were so happy. I just said it because you were happy. I'll live in a shack with you, boy. I love you. It's not the house. I love you. I love all my children. I said, thank you, Mama. Thank you. Leroy Washington did something for me. He started planting seeds in my mind that enabled me to begin to dream, as Dexter has been doing for you. And ladies and gentlemen, I started working on my dream. And most people don't work on their dreams. Why? For many years I didn't. One is because of fear. The fear of failure. What if things don't work out? And the fear of success. What if they do and I can't handle it? The other thing is that most people, ladies and gentlemen, they get comfortable. They stop growing. They stop working on themselves. They stop stretching. They stop pushing themselves. And they end up becoming very cynical about life. And they throw in the towel on themselves, on their families, and on their dreams. And the other thing is that most people don't feel worthy. What I'm doing now, I could have been doing years ago. But because I did not have a college education, because I didn't believe in myself, because I allowed other people's opinion of me to control my destiny, I didn't act on my ideas. So I applaud you for your dreaming, for your running toward your dream. I applaud you for believing in yourself, because that's what life is about. Stretching and challenging, looking for ways that you can begin to improve yourself. And ladies and gentlemen, as a result of stretching out, of acting on my dream, and I don't know what that dream is for you, I can tell you that it's possible. No one could have convinced me that after just over 6 years, I will have my own book entitled Live Your Dreams. Just over 6 years, I would have 5 specials on public television. Just over 6 years, I've done motivational speaking for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, Xerox, IBM. Just over 6 years. I will now have my own talk show that will premiere on Monday, Labor Day. I'm saying to you, your dream is possible.
I'm wealthy because of my friends. It's one of the greatest wealths of all, friendship. Those wonderful people who know all about you and still like you, right, friends? I just lost a friend. David died 2-3 years ago. He was the one I used to talk about. If I was stuck in a foreign jail accused unduly, if they would allow me one phone call, I would have called David. Why would I call him? He would come and get me. End of story. That's what you call friend, right? Somebody who would come and get you. Next, I said I'm wealthy because of what I've learned. I'm wealthy from the people who have taught me, from the Earl Schoafs of the world, and from other people that have made a contribution to my intellectual discovery, that have helped me to refine the track I live on, for good health, for prosperity, for all the things valuable. Can't put a price tag on someone's book or someone's conversation. Someone who gives you knowledge when you need it the most, when you can't think of the ideas, your head is so clouded maybe with despair, and the clouds of difficulty hover near. This is when you need somebody to whisper valuable information in your ear that helps you to survive and then to finally succeed. What is that knowledge worth? You can't put a price tag on it. What's this seminar worth? You couldn't put a price tag on it. The cost of the seminar pays for the lights and the room and somebody like me to come, and the staff and all the other things. But the price of the seminar can't be the ideas. Here's what we have to do. Charge you for all the stuff, and then the ideas are free. Because how could you put a price tag on the ideas? That would be impossible. If you read a book that spared you from having a heart attack, what would it be worth? Someone says, $19.95. Say, no. That's what it costs. That's what it costs for the cover and the ink and the pages and the words and getting it to you and the brokers and all the stuff in between. That's the $20. You couldn't pay for the ideas. They're free. Key thing I've learned. Never begrudge the money you spend on personal education. Because if you can keep developing your mind and your perception and your awareness and your ability to discover, the fortune is yours. The health is yours. The promise is yours. A good family relationship is yours. Friendship is yours. Everything is yours. If you keep accelerating your education, it's the best money you can invest in your personal self-education. Next, I said, I'm a wealthy man because of my future. You can't believe the people who say to me, Jim Rohn, what do you want to do in the future? We've got the wealth and the resources to do anything you want to do. What do you want to do? Do you know how unbelievable that is? What do you want to do? Incredible. Well, I was lucky. I wasn't searching for a mentor, but one just sort of fell in my lap. A friend of mine said, you've got to meet this guy I've gone to work for, Earl Schoaf. He's rich, but he's easy to talk to. He's got a unique philosophy of life and business. I said, okay, yeah, I got to meet this guy. And then I met him. He invited me to join him in his business and became my mentor. I got the sense right away he delighted just as much in other people's success as he did his own. That caught my attention right away. Then he had the ability to look into the future and see the possibilities that I couldn't see. I can't remember how
off and he said, trust me. I'm telling you, trust me. Here's how it will go if you'll stay steady and do it right. See, that was great mentoring. Then Bill Bailey. We've been associated in business and projects for many, many years. Bill's unique. Bill can read a 200-page book in about 20 minutes and then tell you about this book and make it more interesting than if you read it yourself. And from his Shakespeare acting to his boxing career and in the Navy and his business career of wealth and productivity. Years ago, of course, he was the big game hunter, the larger-than-life character. It's just been my good fortune to know him all these years. On the second bottle of wine down on our goat farm in Kentucky, where we're in business together, we wax eloquent. He's a great conversationalist, and I ask a question and he poses some possibilities that I never thought of, and I'm sure I do the same for him. It's great to have that kind of interchange where you kind of wonder together about things. So this could be a possibility, this could be an answer, who knows? Then he's written his own poetry that's unique, and his studies and his concepts are valuable for me. But best of all is simply the friendship, chance to get together, not just share ideas, but just enjoy unique life experiences. And then my parents, they were unique. My father was remarkable in his bit of philosophy. He said, always do more than you get paid for to make an investment in your future. That's a pretty good seminar in itself. My mother was more of a reader and a scholar and taught me well, gave me a great foundation, primarily gave me just a great place to live and a great place to stay and learn and grow. Then the sense that when I did leave home, that no matter what happened, I could always go home. So you better treat me right, I can go home. Who needs this? I just had that attitude, not to be arrogant, but I just had that unbelievable confidence that no matter how things turned out, whether it turned out right or went upside down, for my mom and dad, it didn't matter. I could always go home. Mom would bake me biscuits and cook me oatmeal. That relationship was just really unique. It was great between my parents. They had, 65 plus years of marriage, so it was long. But then they gave me that incredible sense of security and caring that whether I did it right or did it wrong or upside down, it really didn't matter. That home was always a place you could come and get some rest and think things through and work it out and then go back and conquer the rest of the world and see what you can do. There's really not much better sense of security than that. And of course now they're gone and I'm an orphan. I haven't got a mother and a father, but the lingering influence of my growing up years plus that kind of security and tranquility and sense of refuge from a busy world and out there doing the best you can, and that they truly loved me when I was rich and when I was poor and broke and struggling and when I did well. And then they enjoyed my success and the applause and some of the experiences of being recognized. They enjoyed that. So it was great. I would wish the same kind of experience for everyone. And then I counsel parents to the best of my ability, provide that kind of security and framework for your children, that they feel comfortable even though they misstep, cross the line, get in trouble, upside down. If a kid gets in trouble, guess who he wants to call? His mother. She'll come and get me. Papa may say to the sheriff, well, leave him in jail overnight, but not Mama. No, if she's there, she'll come and get him.
The scripture says God hastens his word to perform it. That word hasten means quickly, speedily, in a hurry. And I'm not saying that we don't have to wait. There are things that take time. What I'm saying is when you don't see anything happening, it looks like what you're up against is never going to change. When you come into your destiny moment, God will do it speedily, quicker than you thought. You'll accomplish a dream in a fraction of the time. That obstacle looks permanent, suddenly it turns around. That's God hastening his word. 2 Kings chapter 7, the Israelites were surrounded by the Syrian army. They had cut off the Israelites' food supply. Now the people were starving, just a matter of time before they died. Every circumstance said it was permanent. The enemy army was bigger. They had more equipment. All the odds were against the Israelites. But there were 4 lepers sitting outside the city gates. They thought, we have nothing to lose. We're going to die anyway. Let's go down to the Syrian camp and see what they're doing. While they were walking toward the enemy, the scripture says God caused the Syrians to hear the sound of speeding chariots and galloping horses, the footsteps of a vast army approaching. The Syrian king thought the Israelites had hired several armies to attack them. Verse 7 says, the Syrians panicked and fled into the night. leaving all their horses, tents, and belongings. What was that? God causing their enemies to hurry out of their way. Seemed impossible.
if you want to be great, the burning sensation is you having to accept that you've picked something up, not as far along in the journey as you want to be, and what you have to learn how to do. If you want to be great, you have to learn to let it burn. And even though your impulse is going to be to turn away from that, to not look at it, to soothe it by saying it's them, it's their fault, they fucked it up, I grew up in the wrong place, like whatever excuse you use to try to let yourself off the hook for not being where you want to be, instead of saying, actually, the power is the ability to let it burn.
Not only is it possible, that's probably the best time to do it. When circumstances and situations are pressing in upon us, the only way we can overcome them is to go within, to actually begin to ask very empowering questions with the awareness that this universal presence and its law will answer any question that you ask. So if you're in a situation that is pressing on you and you ask, what's trying to emerge in my life? What is my gift to share? What is my purpose? Why am I here on the planet? Not just how can I pay my rent, not just how can I stop the pain. You ask empowering questions. The universe will answer these questions in a language and in a way that you can understand.
What is the one power that you have right now in this moment that can change everything? You have it, I have it, we all have it. This one singular individual power that can change anything in our life, regardless of what's happened to us.
I want to find more. All I can. And in that sack of you have to dive in that to find more. Because if you're not willing to go in there and face yourself, you're not gonna find anything. You're gonna live right here on surface, man, right here on surface. So if there is an ending to this world and there is somewhere to go and there's a judgment, you're gonna get there and you might see a chart. And that chart may tell you who you should have been. And now you get the rest of your life to think about that. Man, I could have lived a much better life. I just would have just suffered a little bit more.
Whatever your answer is, you can do it right now, today, starting today, right? It's still possible. You can start doing that right now. It's empowering the present with the future. There is nothing stopping you from making it happen right now. You don't have to feel that way when you're 70. You don't have to feel that way when you're 80. You never, ever have to feel that way if you start doing it right now. And you can do it right now. Even if it feels impossible, you can start working on it right now. You can start trying right now. You can start making plans right now because you're not there yet.
We create our own reality. So that will be true for me. I'm saying you're going to come out the other side of this and you will be unstoppable. Your back's against the wall. You got work to do. Like, let's go.
And so the way I do that is I use my body. Because I've done this with athletes for decades, with billionaire businessmen. If you see somebody gets in a slump of some sort, great athlete, Paul Tudor Jones, one of the greatest financial traders in the history of the world, you know, I've coached him for 22 years. When I came to see him, this is a man who made 200% in 1987 when the stock market had its biggest single crash in the day, percentage-wise still. He made 200% for his clients, more money than anybody could dream of. Then he went to the moon, and he went down to earth, and then he lost money. So I was brought in to turn him around. Well, how do you turn a guy like that around? Yeah. I watched him. His shoulders were down. He was breathing like this. He's sitting like this all the time because he'd been through these failures, and it started to get stored in his body. Now, in this state, this man is a genius, couldn't do it. So I watched films when he was at his best. And he's like standing up and he's doing this. He's just going to do, sell this, make this happen. And the movement, the intensity, the way he used his face. And so I showed him a video of himself today. I showed him a video when he was at his best. And I said, what do you notice? He was like, those are two different people. I said, yes, but we can get back to this guy by just using the body first. Trying to use your mind, you'll go in circles. But I've been teaching for years that a radical change in your body instantly changes your biochemistry. 38 years I've taught it. 2 years ago at Harvard, they did a study, scientifically proven what I've been teaching all these decades, where they call it power posture.
Yeah, the Wonder Woman stance.
Yeah, standing like Wonder Woman or Superman for 2 minutes. Yep. Or like you see guys like this, pull back like that for 2 minutes. literally increases your testosterone in your biochemistry within 2 minutes by 20%. It drops cortisol by 18%, which is the stress hormone, and increases your chance of taking a more risky behavior, which is what's required of a leader, by 33%. 2 minutes. Now that's just standing a certain way. I show people use their voice, their body, their movement, which is 10 times more dynamic than just a stiff stance. And when you change your state, your mental, emotional state, you change your performance. Haven't you had times when you have can't remember how to spell a difficult word like the or your own email
really
or something
tired,
like that?
can't remember
what it is.
Cousin's name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you've had times where you're in the flow where after you do something, you're like, I did that. I don't know how I did it, but I did it.
Absolutely.
I was in the flow. Well, you're the same person. The only difference is state. So training yourself to be in a peak state every day. I mean, you think about a great businessman. Think of a great entertainer like Elton John has been around in rock and roll for 40, how many years is it? 40 years?
70s, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's mind-boggling. And most people still like some sample of his music. Well, he's got to have days when he gets up to entertain when he thinks, if you make me sing that Daniel song one more time, I'm going postal, right? But he never does. Every single time he's in that same beautiful state. That's not because he's naturally like that. He's trained himself to do that. Like a great athlete trains himself. That's what leaders have to do. The state of the union, the state of the company is the culture. And the culture starts at the head. Whoever that leader is, their state impacts everybody else. So training yourself to be in that peak state is the key to it all. I think ferocity of spirit is critical for everybody, but we all have it. It's like a muscle.
Do we all have it?
Yeah, we do. Courage unused, though, becomes weaker. Determination unused gets smaller. Passion unexpressed gets smaller. It's like any muscle, the more you use it. And he's been using it for years. His son, though, here's the other thing. He had a reason larger than himself. You see the pattern in all the people that have overcome. He wanted to do for his son. At the time, he told me about his worried about all his employees, and he really cares about his people. But here's the secret, though. You have to make that shift where it's no longer an excuse. If you give yourself an excuse, humans will take it. If you're going to take the island, you burn the boats. And he burned the boats and said, I'm going to find the answer. First, he shifted his psychology, came to my business mastery program, and then he got the skills. Because like I said earlier, it's not just confidence. You got to have skill, and he had both, and he found the way. Show them what you did.
Yeah, after that particular business mastery program, again, as Tony says, 80% of it is psychology, and then 20% of it is mechanics or the strategies.
Yeah.
But unless you get the psychology down, the mechanics don't matter. And I can tell you from that day in November of 2008 where I made that decision that I was not going to fail, and I kissed my lady and said, I'm going back to work. And we went out there and I learned how to export. And when there was no market for steel in the United States, I was able to export to several different companies or several different countries. And we took off from there. We continued to grow. And it was just, again, it's about a mindset. It's about having a level of pride. For me, it was coming from where I come from. The Mylett name didn't mean a whole heck of a lot. And I was determined to change that because it's something of what I call generational influence. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for my son.
The other thing you should do if you're not very industrious is discipline yourself. And so what do you do with that? Eat 3 times a day at regular meal times. That's a good thing to practice, because that starts to put some stability into your life. Get up at the same time. I would highly recommend all those young people out there who are listening, you want to get a jump on life, get the hell out of bed in the morning. As I've got older, I've got up earlier and earlier. Now, that's partly because you don't need as much sleep, but it's also partly because I've got more and more disciplined. Get up early in the morning and get your things done. Man, learn to get up at 6 in the morning and you'll be one deadly creature, especially if you can get to work. You'll have half your damn day done by the time other people haul their sorry asses out of bed. And so that's a massive, massive advantage. Look, Warren Farrell, not the comedian, Warren Farrell, the author, he outlined data in Why Men Earn More, which is a book I would recommend, by the way, showing that if you work 13% longer hours, you make 40% more money. It's nonlinear. So you think, why is that? Well, imagine you had 10 employees and one of them works an extra 10%. It's not much. Well, how often is that person going to be promoted, assuming you have a clue as a boss? It's like you're going to look at the 10 people and you're going to think, oh, that guy's always here 45 minutes early. It's like, why don't we give him the promotion? Obviously, right? So these small edges that you can manage like that, work an extra 10% or extra 13%, have non-proportional payoffs. That's part of the Pareto distribution. So Get your sleep cycle organized so you get up in the morning. Learn how to do it. No excuses. I'm too tired in the morning. I don't like mornings. Who cares? That's not relevant. It's like discipline yourself so you can manage it. Schedule your meals, because that's a good disciplinary routine. And then learn to use a calendar, like Google Calendar. Most of you, many of you out there, do not use a calendar. Okay, a calendar is not a prison, and it's not a tyrant. Not if you use it properly. A calendar keeps anxiety at bay. It makes sure that you do what you need to do, which is important because otherwise you fall behind. But if you use it properly, it also helps you plan what you want to do. So I could say, well, lay out your damn calendar and design the days you would like to have. That's what your calendar is for. So you can put in all sorts of things in there you want to do and that would be good for you. And that's a really good way to start being more industrious. Make a plan. You need a plan for 3 years. You need a plan for the next year. You need a plan for the next 6 months. You need a plan for the next 3 months. You need a plan for the week. You need a plan for the day. You need a plan for the hour. All of that. I make lists constantly of what I have to do. And they're like daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. Right now, I can't look out more than about 6 months, because my life is too complicated and chaotic. But you need a vision of who you could be, what character you could have. 3 to 5 years out, you can't go much farther than that because life is too unpredictable, I think, to make vision that's longer term than that subject to, there's too much chance associated with it to spend a lot of time on. Maybe you can stretch it to 5 years, and in rare cases, you can have a 10-year goal, but it has to be pretty low resolution. But you want plans at all those levels of resolution. You want to write the things down. And because what are you going to do? You're going to stumble around and get what you need? You're going to stumble around and be useful to other people? And it's useful to be useful to other people, They want to work with you then. They want to do things with you. They want to have you around. They trust you. They open up opportunities for you. And if you stumble around like you're blind, you're not going to get anywhere. And then you're going to suffer. And then you're going to be bitter. And then you're going to be cruel. So that's hell. That's a bad outcome.